Great peace, Shakoki. So I found this here after looking at my my great auntie's genealogical records, right? And she had him in there, right? Um, Buddy H. Henderson. I believe this is my maternal grandfather, my mother's father. Um, so she already knew it from like past historical accounts of them like knowing each other and stuff like that when he was alive and when my grandmother was alive. So I think my grandmother died in the 70s due to cancer. Yeah, she died of cancer. And I'm not sure what he died from, but this person died early on as well. And it's kind of wild because like it says like his height is 6'6", 142, I think it is. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Because I definitely didn't get that height. I definitely didn't get that height. Um, so I don't know. Um, I don't know. But what I found interesting is that his native country, right, was his native state was North Carolina. So North Carolina is like where the Blackfeet and the Blackfoot are. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I wish we can do like DNA tests and like find out, like, if you could like exhume a body and see like if you can get like a DNA test done to see if like that's the right person. Um, you know, because my cousins now, right? They got to see who their actual grandfather was. They got to see who he was. Um, Charles Roundtree, right? So that they did get to see, who he was, but we not sure if this is actually, my mother's mother. Like her two younger sisters, they know who their father is, right? We don't know who my mother's father is, and that can be very difficult. Um, Cause like it's interesting, right? You 6'6", like that's like I don't know how accurate that is. You know, I'm not sure how accurate that is. So that's a stumbling block that that we have right there. Um, but I know my auntie, my great auntie, she has like all the genealogical records and stuff like that, so she would know more about who is who. But I haven't talked to her, so I can't signal whether or not something is right or something is wrong on a genealogical tree. So that's what I'm trying to find out right now. Um, yeah. But I don't know if that's 66 inches. I don't know if that's 6'6". I don't know. I will hope that it's not 6'6", because if that's the case, like we didn't get any of this height. You know what I mean? My half brother, my older brother, my half brother, he's like 6 foot, 6 foot, 6'1", 6 foot. Um, and I came out like 5'10". Um, but like this is Blackfoot is North Carolina, you know, and they absorbed into Blackfeet Nation, I guess, you know. So they don't put pictures up of how the people look. I don't think they do. Maybe they do. Let me see. Okay, they don't. Um, Yeah, they don't. You know. So yeah, but I would say like Blackfeet, Blackfoot. You know, you know who those people are because it's like it's the video like on my page, my short, one of the short videos where they talking about different tribes and stuff like that, like Cherokee, Choctaw, you know, and all of that, right? The Blackfoot are very dark in complexion. You know, that's the only thing that I can assemble to them is like having dark skin. Because they have very, very dark skinned Blackfoot people. Because most of those people are like African, hence the name Blackfoot. And they have like other races that they're mixed in with. Um, Saponi and all of those people. So, um, but this is what I want to talk about, right? These people have their own jurisdiction through tribal programs, tribal departments, tribal offices, tribal businesses, tribal agencies, right? They have their own in everything. They have a Blackfeet early childhood center. Like this is in Montana, right? So this is what I think, right? Because there's not a lot of black people in some of these areas like Montana, New Mexico, this is where people can form tribes, right? And say that they're the government. Because it doesn't make sense like how there's no black people there and they can still cuz like you would think like Montana, right? That used to be a tribe. But the people who are there, they don't make up a large majority in number to like the other people that are there. So you get Blackfeet, they come in, they start to open up programs and start to do businesses and start to do castles and stuff like that, form their own jurisdiction. And this is the stuff that they get, wildlife, nation fish, tribal employment rights office, tribal court, tribal health department, you know? And I would imagine like if some of our people were to go back there, right, and to like, become citizens of the state, that they will welcome our citizenship with open arms. I would think, you know, say like if you have a place in court, you have a likely chance of winning a case in a place like this, long as it's not nothing offensive, right? But like it seems like you would have a good chance of winning, a case in that jurisdiction, no matter what it is, right? Um, so I don't know. I think about this, right, and you know, this is interesting. You know, they have their own everything. You know, they have their own everything. So yeah, I didn't see this. I didn't see this. But the only issue that we will run into, right, is that our people are not organized. Like in my case, right, I could ask my cousins, right, because I got out of all my cousins, I'm close to like three of them that are still alive, right. I could ask all my cousins, like, do y'all want to move and go here, go there, and like, start over? Let's get out of Michigan or something like that. Let's get out the Midwest. You know, everybody may not be on board. You know what I mean? Like everybody may not have this amount of money saved up or that amount of money saved up, because I know I don't have enough money saved up to where I can just up and leave and say I'm gonna go here, buy some land, and put something on it. I can't do that. You know, I wish I would have had like insurance, like life insurance. Um, like life insurance. Like if you get sick or something like that, you can start collecting on it. Something like that, right? And if something happened, like, because eventually you're going to get sick, you're just going to get sick, and you get sick or something like that, and you're able to, you know, just leave and start over. Like you got $400,000 that you can start over with. To me, that's something that a lot of our people need. You know, you know. He got 400,000. I got 400,000. They got 400,000. Boom. We can buy a bunch of land with that. You know what I'm saying? We can buy a bunch of land with that, and we can start our own tribe. You know. But the issue with that is that who's gonna act as the creditor? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna get that type of money? Because like, you know, and see the things with these contracts, it's like, once you get sick, you should automatically be able to collect on that type of money. Don't matter where it's coming from, you should be automatically able to collect on it, because it's not promised that you'll be able to pay, an insurance bill like all the time. It's not promised. You should just be able to collect it if you're a citizen of the state, no matter what state you're from. Now, sure, that can be stipulations about where you can use the money out of state, but at the same time, if they really were trying to stop some of these tribal wars and stuff like that, they'd just be like, okay, this person's sick. He's at an age right now where he's not able to work anymore. Give him his money so they can leave. They can start over in a newer state. Like the West can be for retirement age. The East can be for people, a retirement age. The South can be for people to work. The North can be for tourism, like tourists and immigrants and stuff like that. It can be something like that. But it's not fixed that way. It's not fixed. So I'm not really feeling it. You know, um, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. So you know, I'm gonna see what this means though. Is that 66 inches, 66 centimeters? I don't know. I'm gonna see what that means. But I'm serious, man. Like for real. Like you take that type of money, $400,000, you gone. You gone. You is gone. You know. But this is so messed up how they got it like right now. Like, it's so much poverty, like in some of these Midwestern cities, you know, and it's evident that they're miscollecting on the money. They're doing other things with the money, because Cleveland roads are not supposed to look the way that they're looking. Detroit roads are not supposed to be looking the way that they're looking. Then when you go outside of Cleveland and Detroit to some of the other cities, everything is together. You know what I mean? Like everything is working smoothly. But only in the cities where there's a lot of black people, like that's where the problems are at. So I don't really agree with it, you know. And I know it's being done intentionally. You know, we just, it's just not enough people speaking up about this type of thing, because a lot of people have lost their minds. And when you got people who lost their minds, right, they lost respect for themselves. They're not really trying to serve as interest to the greater the greater cause. You know, there should be 100. There should be 100,000 people right now from these cities going up to places like Lansing, Michigan, and protesting Congress, state Congress, protesting the governor. It should be people protesting the judiciary councils, like just protesting. 100,000 people from these inner cities, and they're not doing it. So that's the problem right there. You know, that's the problem right there. It's not. We just not doing it. So that's what I want to talk about in this video right here. Um, but the Blackfoot, they're in North Carolina. Um, and when I looked it up, they said they were related to the Blackfeet. So I don't know what's the difference between a Blackfeet and a Blackfoot. Um, but they're in North Carolina, and they're saying the Blackfeet are in Montana. That's right near Canada. So um, I like some of their hip hop out there. The Native Americans, I like some of their hip hop. You know, I'll listen to Russell Means, his son. I'll listen to his son music. Um, I like a couple of them. I like a couple of their artists. You know, because they put on heavy for like the native heritage. They put on heavy for it. So I definitely rock with it. But you know, there's really no disagreement over here as far as that goes. So so this is the current council, I think. You know, I think once our people figure out how to start making these councils and start making these tribes and these nations, they're gonna start doing it. And I think that's gonna be the way out for like a lot of our situations. I think that's gonna be the way out. So great peace, Yakoki.